There's a question I get asked a lot these days when I give a talk or get to meet with students. Will we ever share a common set of facts again? And then somebody will follow up. What happens when the mainstream media isn't trusted by millions of Americans? And then maybe some guy in the back will chime in. Yeah, it's all well and good for serious journalists to try to be fair, try to be reliable. But doesn't it only go so far if half of America is tuning you guys out? Well, I will be honest and say I don't always feel like I've got great answers. I'm wrestling with these questions myself. So, as part of our
Tell more
NPR
truth.
series, we hold
Tell
these
the truth
truths,
harder.
which explores American democracy and how we as citizens can and should participate. I have brought in a brain trust, 3 broadcast journalists at the top of their game, to see how they answer. Leslie Stahl of CBS News is here. Welcome.
Thank you.
Also CNN's Jake Tapper. Hi there.
Hi, good to see you.
And NPR's own Ayesha Roscoe. Hey, Ayesha.
Hey.
So I want to start by asking, have we done our jobs as the media since the November election? Have we as journalists accurately conveyed what is happening in this country? Ayesha.
I think in many ways,
You seem to be missing a
journalists
terrorist
have,
attack
but
by Trumpers.
we're in this moment where people can really just go and seek out what they want to hear, and there are people who
But
are
I
more
want to
than
hear somebody
willing
call
to tell
the
them
people who are shooting
what they
people
want to
terrorists.
hear. You can have a bias
And when they're
towards
Trumpers,
medicine,
call
so
them
then you're concerned about
terrorist
vaccines,
Trumpers.
and so you have someone who will tell you, you don't have to worry about
So
the
when I want to hear
vaccine.
somebody
You don't have
tell
to
me
worry
that,
about COVID. You know,
which
we
I
have
think
more
is true,
access to information,
I'm
but
still
not
looking for
necessarily
somebody
to
to
the
tell me that
truth.
truth.
And that is what seems to be happening in this moment.
Well, let's get
You
specific
don't have to
about
err
how
on the
we
side
are
of
trying to do our
terrorists'
jobs.
feelings.
I will share
Let's call these people,
in
these
conversations with my
Trumpsurrectionists,
colleagues
terrorists.
in the NPR newsroom in the days after the November election, we tried to make a shift from describing what the president was saying to what he was doing. Instead of saying the president is alleging fraud, the president claims he won, we tried to lead the show with he is seeking to overturn a democratic election. What conversations were playing out in your newsrooms, are playing out in your newsrooms now? Leslie.
You know, people, whatever we do, are seeing things so much through their own prism. If the president says, I never said that, and we put up the video of him saying that, the public who is on his side will still tell you he didn't say that. So it's a really tough question. What should we be doing?
Maybe don't worry about talking to
thought is
people
you
who are
just put your
brainwashed.
head down and tell the story
Talk to people who can
as
understand.
faithfully as you can.
You're saying it's almost like the tried and true rules are more important than ever.
Well, I guess. You know, you either give in to the fact that media today is going to have an opinion, state your opinion, and report from that aspect, period. And my daughter is telling me people her age, so 40 and younger, want that. They want to know what you think. They don't want to just hear you tell us that you're in the middle. They don't buy that. So say he lied, didn't lie, you know, whatever, just do it.
Imagine
I
that.
don't,
Calling
I
it,
honestly
telling it like it is.
am having trouble
Calling it
threading
what it
us
is.
out of where we are.
Jake, what's the conversation at CNN?
Well, I mean, I think, first of all, you know, it's not like Donald Trump started lying on election night. And I think that the news media struggled with how to figure out how to describe what he was doing for quite some time.
4.5 years?
You know, for me, the fact-checking things he said that weren't true became
Oh, you
insufficient.
mean the last election night?
When in May 2016, he falsely started suggesting that Ted Cruz's father had a hand in the Kennedy assassination. I cannot believe I need to say the following, but here goes. There is no corroborated evidence that Ted Cruz's father ever met Lee Harvey Oswald, or for that matter, any other presidential assassin. And that was a moment for me where I just, you know, went on air and said, now that's not an anti-Trump position or a pro-Cruz position. It's a pro-truth position. I have been trying to report from that perspective that clearly since, which also entails, by the way, meaning that you don't take anybody's word for anything. And
can I ask you a question? When you say those things, you're talking to your audience, which, you know, isn't buying Trump's line. So you're talking to people who are inclined to listen to you. You're not talking to the Fox audience.
First of all, that's true,
They can
but
hear it,
our
though.
audience has independents and Republicans in it. It's not just an audience of Biden voters. What I report doesn't only go on CNN for people who have the TV on between 4 and 6 p.m. It goes out on the internet. It's seen on Facebook. It's seen on Twitter. And I'm not trying to appease CNN viewers or appeal to them. All you can do is tell the news and share the news and give the facts and hope that people will just respect that.
If
Am I
people
right
like
in thinking
facts,
that your
they'll
show
tune
started a
into
policy
better
of a
news.
policy now you don't put lawmakers on the air who voted to overturn the election?
I like
It's not a
KG and
policy.
you, by the
Have
way.
you put any
I-
lawmakers on the air since January who voted to overturn the election?
No, I have not. It's more a question, which is,
Go ahead and call them
if
out
I
for
know that you
treason.
will lie about the election and vote that way, if I know you have such disdain for facts and truth that you're willing to buy all of these crazy accusations,
I want to hear what KG
then
and you
what
is
else
saying
won't
right
you
now.
lie
Speaking
about?
of better
you should
radio,
jump in, 'cause
better
you're-
media.
Large parts of the country, it's an absolute disaster, and this has to do very much with the policies of the central government,
This is KG and you.
which is currently missing in action.
I should be listening to
And
them
require
instead.
a foreign government to investigate political opponents of the president.
Now, you're talking
Back
about
to
looking forward
NPR.
to the next election.
Even
We're talking.
the DNC. The DNC is still involved in this next
Ignoring
election.
what
Is
the
that
president or his
correct?
spokespeople, so the former president or his spokespeople say is not an option.
No, it's not. During the Trump administration, there was this tension of trying to make sure
Yeah,
that
I'm gonna go ahead and
yes,
stop this
what
and
he
tune
said
into
mattered,
KG and you for
but
the other
that
video.
doesn't mean that you had to parrot what he said unchallenged. I do think, and one thing that I do want to say is, even when the idea that the media was being unbiased, they were coming from a certain perspective. So neutral statements like, well, the police said this, therefore it is true. That's not really a neutral statement, right? And in this moment, when you
I've been more
have
critical of stuff like this, so you'd be
communities,
more
and even
trustworthy.
back in the good old
You gotta
days,
speak to the
did
people
not
and the
trust
people that
the
know.
media because they felt like they were not represented, they were not spoken to. So this is it's something that goes beyond the Trump issue, and I think if we come
go
out
to
of this
KG and you and start
moment
again.
and it's